Translating technical jargon into everyday language is crucial for effective communication, particularly in STEM fields. Dr. Maxwell's law of clarity deeply resonates with me. Clear communication is vital. It's important to avoid jargon and complex language to ensure your message is easily understood. As a military officer, I was trained to be concise, to convey 20 words in 10, present in 5 minutes what usually takes 2, and recognize when the audience is more interested in the end result than the process. Many cybersecurity leaders must regularly communicate with other business executives. In my current role, I often meet with legal counsel, the CISO, the CIO, and other key stakeholders. It is crucial for me to articulate the problem in terms of financial, business, and legal risk. This does not mean explaining the anatomy of a ransomware attack or the misconfiguration of a server, as such details could get me uninvited from meetings or even fired. During my time in the military, I commanded a transportation company and reported directly to a brigade commander who was months away from becoming a general officer. He was less concerned with why or how a vehicle was broken or why Sergeant Smith was injured. Instead, he wanted to know if the unit was fully mission capable and ready for deployment. If not, he needed to know when it would be. Here's a systematic process to achieve this. Identify the technical jargon, gather materials. Collect the documents, presentations, or content that contains technical jargon. Highlight jargon, identify and highlight terms or phrases that may be unfamiliar to your target audience. Understand the context. Define the purpose. Determine the purpose of the communication. Are you informing, educating, or persuading? Know your audience. Analyze the audience's background, knowledge level, and familiarity with the subject matter. This will guide how you simplify the terminology. Research and define terms. Utilize reliable sources to find definitions for technical terms. It's important to understand their meanings and implications thoroughly. I frequently observe people using terms and acronyms they themselves do not understand. When I encounter an unfamiliar term, I ask for clarification. I am often both annoyed and embarrassed for the speaker when they admit they don't know the meaning either and promise to get back to me. If you cannot explain a term or have no experience with it, refrain from discussing it. This adherence aligns with the principle of maintaining credibility. Contextual understanding. Consider how these terms are used in context. This helps in finding the most appropriate common terminology. Replace technical jargon with simpler, more commonly understood words. Aim for clarity and brevity. If a term represents a complex idea, break it down into smaller, more manageable parts. Explain each part in simple terms. Use analogies and examples. Use analogies or metaphors that relate to everyday experiences to explain complex concepts. This makes the information relatable. Offer concrete examples that illustrate the concept in a familiar context. This helps the audience grasp the meaning more easily. This brings us back to the law of credibility. If you want to connect and build trust with your audience, have story, show an example. Engage in dialogue. Whenever possible, engage with members of your target audience to test your translations. Ask them if they understand the terms and concepts. I do this regularly in my lectures. Any student who has attended my live sessions will tell you that I frequently pause to ask, "Are there any questions?" or "What can I clarify?" Encourage questions. Create an environment where the audience feels comfortable asking questions. This can help clarify any remaining confusion. Revise and refine. Use the feedback received to refine your translations. Make adjustments to ensure clarity and understanding. If significant changes are made, consider testing the revised terminology with a sample of the audience again. Document and share. Compile a glossary of translated terms for future reference. This can be a helpful resource for both the audience and other communicators. Distribute the simplified content through appropriate channels, ensuring it reaches the intended audience effectively. Evaluate effectiveness. After sharing the content, evaluate how well the audience understood the material. This can be done through surveys, quizzes, or informal discussions. Use the evaluation results to improve future communications. Keep refining your approach based on what works best for your audience. By following this systematic process, you can effectively translate technical jargon into common terminology, making complex information more accessible and understandable for your audience. This approach not only enhances communication, but also fosters greater engagement and comprehension. There's a saying called KISS, keep it simple, stupid. I'm never impressed when speakers use fancy words. If you want your audience to connect, understand your message, and relate to what you're saying, don't make them guess. Don't try to impress them with big words. Years ago, my JV basketball coach, Bob Earl, taught me a valuable lesson. A layup always scores 2 points, no matter how you make it. Keep it simple. Don't try to be fancy. Speak plainly and know your audience. It's wonderful to be an expert, but it's even more important to communicate in a way that others can understand. A wise friend once said, "You are only as effective as your audience's ability to understand you." I realized that no matter how correct my message was, I failed when my audience didn't understand or accept it.